Should we have a go? Should we start? Does it matter? Here's the first question of the morning. Does it matter to you if the products you buy in a supermarket come straight from the farm? We hear a lot about farm to fork, don't we? Is that important to you? Do you even check? See if you've got that little tractor? Is it the little red tractor? Anyway, how important, basically, is farm to fork to you? Tell me. Why do I ask? I'll tell you why I ask. A Herefordshire farmer says major supermarkets are using fake farm brands, giving shoppers the impression that their products come from quaint British family farms. But they don't. Ben Andrews is a farmer in Herefordshire. He's been speaking to our reporter, Matt Hutchinson.
You can quite often be in a supermarket just trundling down the aisle and you will see a product, so say a pack of blueberries, and you'll pick it up and it'll have this logo on the front and it will conjure up this idea of a bucolic British farm. But then when you look closely at the source of origin, they can change week to week. 1 week they can be from the UK, but then they can be from Poland or even Peru. So there's no consistency in the actual supplier of those products, but they are branded specifically to look like they have come from a named farm.
What's the impact of that on farms in Britain, especially smaller family farms like yours?
Shoppers will think that they're going to these supermarkets, they'll see these big banners up saying supporting British farms, they'll see the Union Jack plastered absolutely everywhere in store, but without looking closer you won't know where the source of origin is. So people are shopping there thinking they're supporting British farmers when in fact they're not.
Beware the Union Jack. You'll hear more from Ben with Matt later on in the show. That was Ben Andrews beating the drum. ABBA made a song about it. Can you beat the drum? Ben Andrews, and he can. Let's talk to Scott. Scott Dixon is a friend of this show. He's a consumer champion. He joins us on this. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Malcolm. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for coming on. This is cheating, isn't it?
It is, and fake farm brand, and it's been a big problem for years, Malcolm, and not only is it unethical, but it is disingenuous and misleading to consumers. And 95% of our food is sold through 10 retailers, according to Will White, who's the Sustainable Farming Campaign Coordinator. And there is a price paid for cheap food, and people don't appreciate that. Times are hard and cost of living crisis and everything else. But we have to consider animal welfare, environmental harm, and the destruction of traditional farming livelihoods.
Yeah, and losing our farmers because they can't compete with actually what is on the shelves if it's not from British farms.
That's right, and we have a duty to support our farmers if we want food security, a resilient food chain, and we need to treat our farmers fairly. And the profit margins that they get through the supermarket, it's wafer thin. And I think we need to look more closely beyond the Union Jack flags and stamps made in Britain. And on the back of the packaging, you'll often see in small print where the food is sourced. And it's not right, is it? It's unethical and it's just wrong.
Now, you've just mentioned that word there and you've put your finger right on the nail. Small print. Do we have to study the packaging so that we know we actually are buying from British farms? Is it as hard as that?
It is, and for all you'll see Union Jack and Made in Britain, that essentially relates to the packaging. So it's maybe packaged in Britain, but if you look on the back of the labels, you'll often see sourced from meat in the EU or even Thailand. I've seen that as well. Like, for example, on chicken KFs and things like that. And I think we need to not only shop local, but also go direct to source. Look for farmers' markets, and maybe move away from traditional supermarkets for that reason.
Well, that brings me on to something else. Are we really that bothered, or is it the price we're more interested in? Maybe have a look at the best before date and the price, and that's it. That's as far as we go.
Yeah, and that is a problem as well. I mean, we're all busy people, and times are hard. People are watching their pennies from 1 week to the next, and people are looking for cheap food. But as I said earlier, there is a price paid for cheap food, and I think consumers would be prepared to pay a little bit more if they knew that farmers were getting a better deal.
So really, the only way we can do this is, go to farm shops? I don't know even about the farm shops. Probably the farmers' markets for sure, yes?
Yeah, but also shop local. I mean, once upon a time, I mean, we're old enough to remember a time before large supermarkets came into being, and we used to shop local.
Yeah.
You know, local delicatessens and grocery stores, and I think we need to go back to what's old becomes new again, and go back to how we used to shop, and you know, shop local, and money spent locally, it helps the local economy as well as local farmers.
Well, it sounds great. This is ever so sneaky, you know. I'm glad we're talking about it today because it gives everybody a chance to have their say. And you've got us off to a great start, Scott. Lovely having you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure, Malcolm. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome.